My name is Wilhelm from King Arthur Flour Bakery, and today we're going to show you some applications for tempered chocolate. So we're going to do some chocolate decorations next. Those are going to be loops that you can place on cakes and desserts. We're using an acetate sheet for this. This is a smooth plastic sheet that will release the chocolate once it firms up. So we want to deposit a little bit of our tempered chocolate onto the plastic. Spread it out. And we take a comb like this to make lines. And then we're simply going to fold over the plastic sheet. I'm going to transfer it to a tray, and I have a metal bar here to help it stay down. This plastic is somewhat firmer, so we need to help it stay down there until the chocolate firms up. A variation of our loops are just twisted strings that we can achieve with the same acetate foil. This time we cut a little longer, and we'll deposit some chocolate onto it. And we will place this into a cup to hold these strings. And as you see, I placed a towel here to affix the cup so it doesn't move about. Here's another way of applying tempered chocolate to a decoration, and this time we're going to use a transfer sheet, which is an acetate sheet that has been silk screened with colored cocoa butter. So I'm going to pour some of the chocolate over here. And then we're just going to put it aside and let it firm up. And when it gets to the point that it starts to firm up, I'm going to score triangles out of it. And then we're going to let it be and get back to it in a little bit. Next, we're going to pipe some decorations and do some lattice work. So we're going to fill our parchment paper cone, and we are going to crisscross over this acetate sheet. And you don't want to be too thin because you don't want your ornaments to break too easily. And you can use this and wrap it around the mousse dessert. Now that our lattice work has started to firm up, we can start to cut designs out of it. What we are going to do is we're going to cut out some round shapes and just are able to use this on top of cakes and desserts. Next, we're going to trace some ornaments that you can place on top of mousse desserts or mousse cakes. And I'm going to trace it on top of a acetate foil. And this chocolate is just tempered chocolate. It has not been thickened. It's cooling down to a point where it's a little thicker now, so that is very helpful. If your couverture is too liquid, then you may thicken it with a drop of alcohol. Those ornaments can be filled in with a different colored chocolate at a later point, like white chocolate or even colored white chocolate. Now we're going to score our chocolate strip here, and I'm just going to make random triangles and different shapes. Okay. And to completely firm up, we're going to lay it over the bowl and just let it be. Now that the chocolate had some time to cure and to completely firm up, we can carefully peel it off the acetate sheets and apply it. So for example, you can take the lattice work and apply it to a cupcake in this case. This is a caramel buttercream cupcake. We can use our finished decorations in a multitude of ways to add some intricacy to our product and, of course, a touch of chocolate. And this can go onto single mousse desserts and also onto cakes. These are all ways for you to accentuate products and to give it some finesse with some well-tempered dark chocolate. Next, we're going to make some chocolate cigarettes, and we have some dark chocolate here, which is not in temper, and we are going to spread it out on the marble. We're going to spread it fairly thin and move the chocolate about in a way to have it spread nice and thin, and to move it while it's cooling, so it receives some sort of temper, but we do start out with chocolate that is not in temper. All right, I'm going to keep doing this just to make sure that it firms up a little quicker. We want to maintain a clean work surface, so we'll just make sure to clean up the edges. So we made our chocolate cigarettes, and we'll gently remove them from our marble just by sliding our spatula underneath. And now that we have made our chocolate cigarettes, we'll place them here on the cake, and those little fellas have a lot of application possibilities. You can place them on individual desserts or just let your creativity go wild. Hello, my name is Wilhelm, and today I'm going to show you how to correctly temper chocolate. Why do we temper chocolate? Well, chocolate has to be tempered so that we can achieve a high gloss product with a snap and the correct melting point. Further, it also helps us speed up the process of working with chocolate and getting the job done in a timely fashion. So what does tempering mean? Tempering means to move the temperature of the chocolate in a way that it promotes the crystallization of the cocoa butter. We really only focus on the cocoa butter during the tempering process. Cocoa butter consists of several different crystal types that form at different temperatures. We want to only focus on the beta crystals because these are the crystals that will give the product its snap and its shine in the end. So we are changing the temperature of the chocolate and promoting the crystallization in a way that yields the perfect product. In tempering, there are three main temperature zones that we want to work with. You melt the chocolate to 125 degrees Fahrenheit or about 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. By that degree, all crystalline structure is melted. All forms of crystals are not present. Then we want to cool the chocolate during the tabling method, for example, to about 27 degrees Celsius or 81 degrees Fahrenheit, at which we form crystals. We do form the crystals we want. We also form other crystals. And to get rid of those, we have to heat up the chocolate to working temperature, which is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit and 30 to 32 degrees Celsius. The temperature ranges somewhat depend on also the type of couverture or chocolate you're using. In general, you want to use cooler temperatures for milk and white chocolates. High quality couvertures have a graph on the box or a temperature range given from the manufacturer that shows the perfect working temperature. So now we're starting with the seeding method. And for this, we have a bowl of melted chocolate. And we also have a bowl of chopped chocolate that was in perfect temper. The objective here is to seed our melted chocolate. We want to introduce the correct crystalline structure into our melted chocolate so that the crystals form in the proper manner. So a couple of things are important. The amount of chocolate that we put into our bowl, we want to use about 1/3 of the amount that we have in the bowl. And we want to agitate the chocolate throughout. We don't want to stir too much. We don't want to introduce air into our chocolate, but we want to slowly agitate and seed our chocolate. Two things are going to happen. We are introducing the crystalline structure to our melted chocolate, and we are also lowering the temperature of our melted chocolate to the working temperature. If we are reaching the working temperature and we still have lumps in our chocolate, we will need to melt these. So there's a few ways to do it. You can put this over a flame, or you can put it in the microwave, but these are all very drastic temperature changes. We want to gently melt these, and one way to do this is with a hot air blower. If you use an industrial hot air blower like this, you want to use the lowest setting. This is set to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. But chocolate is very sensitive, so you don't want to burn your chocolate. Common household hair dryer work perfectly as well. In case our melted chocolate was too warm and we didn't introduce enough of the chunks, then you will just need to introduce some more, but be careful not to introduce too many, otherwise you will have the chocolate be too cold. This process takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the temperature of the chocolate, room temperature, etc. When we reach the perfect working temperature, we'll reassure ourselves with a thermometer to see if we are indeed between 32 and 34 degrees Celsius. Again, that's about 92 to 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Additionally, to reassure ourselves with a thermometer, we may also make a test, and this is a very foolproof method. You can always use a plastic bench scraper and dip it in the chocolate and then lay it somewhere, not on a cold stone or on the cold metal table, but the wood table is perfectly fine. And we will just wait a few minutes, and if the chocolate firms up in a timely manner, that is 2 to 3 minutes, and it produces a nice shine and a snap to it, then our chocolate is in perfect temper. If it does not firm up in 4 minutes or longer, then the chocolate is not perfectly tempered, and we will have to redo our process again, starting with melting the chocolate, bringing it up to 45 degrees Celsius or 125 degrees Fahrenheit, and start the process over. Now that our chocolate is in perfect temper, we'll have to make sure that it stays in the workable temperature range, and that we agitate it every few minutes, because the chocolate is firming up on the outside of the bowl. As chocolate cools, it actually generates heat. So we want to make sure that we stir the chocolate forcefully, but gently at the same time, just a little bit, and then work with it again. Now that our chocolate is in perfect temper, we are ready to use it in any application we want, as in enrobing truffles, making chocolate decorations, or anything else that requires a well-tempered chocolate. Now we're going to table chocolate. We're going to pour it on the marble slab, thus cooling down the chocolate, and then scrape it back into the bowl. I'm going to pour 2/3 of our chocolate, which is melted and at about 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 degrees Celsius, onto the marble. And then I'm going to spread the chocolate evenly. And what is happening here is that the marble stone cools down the chocolate. Now, to be able to evenly cool the chocolate, we will have to move it about, and we're using a spatula for that. In this process, we are forming our better crystals. Cocoa butter is crystallizing, and it is very important not to have it too long on the marble stone, because then the chocolate is going to be lumpy, and we're not going to be able to work with it. As the marble is cooling the chocolate, it's getting thicker. So just by looking at the chocolate, you'll be able to tell that it is cooling down. Now our chocolate is ready to be scraped back into the bowl. And so we're going to place the bowl on the edge of the marble and swiftly get it off the cold stone. After we have scraped the chocolate back off the marble into the bowl, we are going to stir. Remember, there's 1/3 of the chocolate remaining in the bowl. This 1/3 is going to bring up the temperature of our chocolate to the correct working temperature. ideally to about 32 degrees Celsius or around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. To determine the correct temperature of the chocolate, we want to use an accurate thermometer. Another foolproof method to determine whether the chocolate is in perfect temper is to take a plastic bowl scraper and dip it into the chocolate and then lay it on a not too cool surface, just like the wood workbench is ideal. If this chocolate firms up on the plastic scraper in about 2 to 3 minutes, then it's in perfect temper. If it doesn't firm up in a timely manner, then our chocolate is not in temper, and we'll have to repeat the process, starting with melting our chocolate all the way back up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 degrees Celsius. To keep the chocolate in good temper when it's in the bowl after you have tempered it, you want to keep an eye on the temperature and also agitate the chocolate every couple of minutes. The outside of the bowl is going to cool as your room is air conditioned, or just the room temperature is below the working temperature of the chocolate. And so we want to make sure to swiftly agitate and stir the chocolate to ensure that everything is in an even temper. Now that our chocolate is in perfect temper, we are ready to use it in any application we want, as in enrobing truffles, making chocolate decorations, or anything else that requires a well-tempered chocolate.